Oh, what perfect timing. The air conditioner just kicked off, but it'll be back on in no time soon. So it's going to be noisy in the background. Well, going live, as I mentioned earlier, in a very short, what I plan on doing is going live if I can. If I can't go live, I'm going to do an almost live. I had an almost live all set up for today. However, I'm able to go live, so I kick that to the next week. And if I'm able to go live next week, then I'll kick it to the next week after that again. Don't know if anyone is out there listening right now, but you are at Knife Chats with Tobias, and we are live. What I'm going to start with is a couple shout outs to various channels that have supported me in the past. If you've noticed, I am just about ready to crack 9,000, which is a good thing, I guess. I was hoping to be cracking 10,000. Hi, Prop Blast 82nd. Yeah, I was hoping to be cracking 10,000. Hi, Trev. Good evening, huh? So you're somewhere over in Europe, maybe. Any case, as it is, I'm sitting at right at 9,000. Will I hit 10,000 by New Year's Day? I doubt it seriously. I'm thinking, hi, Douglas. Thank you. Yeah, will I make it to 10,000? Probably not. I'm thinking with luck, I can make it to 10,000 by July of next year, which will be nice. I'm looking at building the channel, obviously. I think everyone wants to build it, but I am not actively doing anything like running a bunch of giveaways or anything like that. But I do think that it is about time to give some shout outs to various channels that have helped me along the way, and also a couple channels that I also am members of. But before I get to that, I wanted to show you what thank you. Thanks, Prop Blast. What I wanted to do is show you a bag that was sent to me from Smoky Mountain Knife Works. I cut out the square where the name was. They basically sent me a lot of stickers and such, and also, oh, and there's some stuff in here from Big Red EDC too. But they sent me a ton of stickers because I basically had asked for one of the IBDH. I had asked for a peanut butter and jelly sticker, the PB&J sticker, even though I don't have the PB&J knives. All I was able to get were the what is it? The dragon something. See, now I should know dragon skin, I think. But sent me a bunch of the PB&J stickers. I'm probably going to keep two and pass the other ones along in different ways, giveaways and stuff like that. Also, a bunch of more of these stickers. I knew about these stickers before they actually hit the store because I actually got one back in July and such. There's another PB&J. Yeah. I guess that's one I will. Oh no, this is a cool one. This is one of them I was really interested in too. This is like one of their Halloween stickers for Beetlejuice. That's what it reminded me of, the Beetlejuice sticker, which is pretty cool. But they also sent me a bunch of these case stickers, and I already had a few of these, but it was nice to get more of them. And what I will do is I'm going to send a couple of those out, and one of them is going to go to where is he? Where is he at? Got a bunch of stickers over on the side of people I wanted to talk about. Right here, Travis, the case guy. He's one of the latest channels I've been checking out because I'm also a case guy to a degree, not nearly as much as Travis, but I figure Travis could use a couple of those stickers, so I'm going to send him a couple of those stickers. Also got some of the Bigfoot stickers, the Halloween Bigfoot stickers. So I'm going to try and get some of these out to people before Halloween hits. And then all sorts of other stickers. The He Is Risen stickers. Not sure what this one's for, but kind of cool. Brass knuckles. The SMKW ones for Because of the Brave. And, oh man, made a mess here. But in any case, got a lot of stickers. Some of them were for different knives and stuff like that too. So a lot of these will be going out to folks. And speaking of folks, before we get into some of the latest knives I picked up, got this from Big Red EDC. I'm a member of his channel, and man, he embarrassed me here with this. This is his Big Red EDC coin that I got, I believe, for being a channel member there for 2 years. And it's like I had things I was hoping to give to people who are members of my channel, and I haven't done anything. Hi, Delmar. But got a challenge coin from Big Red EDC, and I do like challenge coins. So that's pretty cool. And then also some new stickers from Big Red also. As long as I'm talking about, Big Red EDC was one of the earliest channels I started looking at, who I still look at right now, and who is still around, actively producing content also. Hi, Delmar. There's a lot of channels out there that I was first looking at that I don't see much content coming from them anymore, but some of them are a little irregular, and some of them are have almost gone non-existent, but a couple other ones that are still around, and I want to acknowledge our Knife Detector and Slick Slicers. Now, Slick Slicers has been having some health issues recently, but if you're not a member of Slick Slicers, check out his channel. And the same thing with Knife Detector, especially if you like old knives. Knife Detector is a really good channel to check out. He's still around. He's not producing as much content as he used to, but he is still around, so check him out. And Warthog has also been having health issues. Hopefully he is on the mend again. I have not been receiving any kind of messages from YouTube, so I have to go and check on him when I remember him. So I saw his sticker again today, and it's like, oh man, I got to check out Warthog, see how he's been doing. RJ's Knives is a channel I've been around with for quite some time. I really like RJ. It's a really good channel as well. Old Farts Knife, he's a new guy, and he was just talking about this knife a little while ago, and it's a really nice little pearl-handled whittler that he got. I think this is from Robert Class. Thrifty Kniffy, another channel I check out a lot. All right, I will get back to some more stickers in a little bit, because let's do something other than stickers for a bit. And that is some of the knives that I've been picking up. I was looking on eBay for a variety of knives. Hi, Kathleen. And mostly, I guess I just wasn't bidding high enough, and I missed a lot of bids on knives, so I did not get it. Like, there was a really nice Great Eastern Cutlery two-blade toothpick out there that I was trying to bid on, but I also was not about to go over my limit while I was doing it, and my limit was not the $230 that it sold for. It was significantly lower than that. So if you are one of those people who actually won that that GEC toothpick for $230, congratulations. Do not blame me for the price getting up that high. I stopped around 130. I wasn't going any higher than that. It just wasn't worth it for me. Not saying it wasn't worth $230. It wasn't worth me paying $230 for it. I just wasn't in my budget. Let me put it that way. This was a knife that was more in my budget. Hi, Philip. This is a knife from Ozark Trail, and it's I think I might have shown this. This is one of the most recent knives I've picked up, though. I think I got it almost a month ago on top of that. And as you can tell, it has an axis lock on there, or a crossbar lock. And not at all impressed with it. I'll be honest, not with the lock at least. The knife has some really good lines to it. I don't know what knife they're trying to imitate with this, but I do like the knife. Probably 420 steel. They didn't say anything other than stainless. You can see it's all open construction. It has a deep carry pocket clip, more or less. It's not reversible. Uh, and you do have the proud pins underneath there, or torque screws underneath there. So um, it'd have been nice if it was flush, but then again, this is I think a $12 knife. Nice hollow grind going on. As for the axis lock or crossbar lock, very hard to pull back, and I've got it all the way back now, and as you can see, the blade is not moving. The blade is loose, but in order for me to get that blade to loose, I guess I would probably have to loosen up the pivot, but at the same time, when it gets down to here, it hits the crossbar again, and it kind of a nice safety feature. You know the blade isn't going to drop on your fingers, but it definitely not drop shutty. Got to push it down the rest of the way. So that was by Ozark Trail. This is not the one that is a copy of the Benchmade bug out that everyone is after, but not a bad knife. Opens up okay with the thumb stud, but the lock is disappointing. If you're looking for something that's drop shutty, this is not going to be drop shutty. But then again, $12 knife, so what do you expect? This was a knife, one of the few knives that I actually managed to win, and I won this with just one bid. I think I got this for somewhere around $15 total. That was including the shipping. It is a frost knife, but it is a beautiful shade of purple on here. Yeah, I agree. It's just a great shade of purple, and the way it fades to the side and everything, and it's pretty evenly matched from side to side. And I really do like the sunfish. I'm going to be doing a video about sunfish knives in the near future, because this is a pattern that I actively seek out. You know, I'm always looking for new sunfish knives or elephant toenails. This one's not bad though. It is made in Pakistan. It is a frost knife, but not bad. You know, especially for the 15 bucks I spent for it. One of the biggest problems I have with when I'm looking for getting the sunfish knives, especially if you're looking for something by Case or something. Yeah, prop blasted. It is a really beautiful color, I think. The problem with the ones from Case is, well, Case doesn't make sunfish or elephant toenails that often, and when they do, they don't make them in large enough numbers. And so when you're finding them on the secondary market, you know, 20, 30 years later, the prices for them are in the $200 range for a knife that's probably worth about 100. And that's the biggest problem. So I never can seem to catch one of these a USA made sunfish knife, simply because they're just way out of my price range for what the knife is. Is it worth that price? Well, it is to somebody, but it's not worth that price for me. Another knife I recently picked up, and this one just came in. I haven't been doing a lot of bidding on knives currently, and I have thought twice about actually ordering from the various knife makers or retailers out there, like SMKW or geez, I can't even think of Swiss Knife Store. Man, there are so many places. Red Hill, Shepherd Hills, even like eCop and stuff on eBay. I just haven't been ordering recently because of the current conditions with shipping and everything, because of the weather and everything. And even before then, it seemed like there was problems with shipping. So I just like, I'm just going to wait until things chill out a little bit before I buy anything. But this was one that I was like, all right, I'm going to put in a bid on this one. And again, I only put in a low bid, and I won it. No one else was looking at it. And as you can tell, it's a German army knife. I think the reason no one was looking at it is they saw that the guy clearly showed the tang stamp. And if you can see that, it is not Victorinox, which is not a problem. I know exactly who made this knife. See that? Ah, there, that's a good look at it. Looks like a little eagle for the tank stamp. And that's because this was made by Adler in Germany. And the blades for this knife were actually supplied to Adler by Victorinox. And then Adler made these knives for the German army. So this is a genuine German army knife. It was made by Adler in Germany. Um, the German army knife was not just made by Victorinox. Matter of fact, the very first German army knife I ever bought, well, I didn't buy, I actually got it given to me in a swap when I was in the army in Germany. And let me go and grab that real quick. Gotta clear off this. It's right next to me. I've shown this before. This is it. This is my very first German army knife, or GAC, whatever you want to call it. And you see here, this one is made by CCM Rostrei. Swapped for this knife. I swapped this, the milk knife, the MILK 818 for it. Then went and bought another milk knife. And I swapped with a German soldier. We swapped hats and knives, and I definitely got the better end of the deal as far as I'm concerned with. But you know, this was not a knife that he could easily obtain, and this was not a knife at that time that I could easily obtain. This was pre eBay days and all that other stuff. So when I saw this one, it's like, wow, that's by Adler. I'm going to grab that one too. And I'll have another one that wasn't by Victorinox. And now I'm like, do I need to pick up the Atwar, and do I need to pick up, I think it's the BH one, and or I think it's BH is another company that makes them. I might have to go and get a couple more of these. Yeah, made in 1973, so you got one that is still Vietnam era. This particular one is 1981. And I picked up the 1981 because that is the year I swapped for this one, and I don't know if it was supposed to be 81 or not, but that's the one that was in the shop at the time, or in the Class 2 store at the time, then 1981. I think I swapped a 1978 for this one, for the GAC. I've got a 1978 in the collection too, though. I picked it up after got out of the Army and everything, because I don't know, one of those things. It's one of those things that I think people do when they get older. It's like they want to try and get all the knives they had when they were children, or all the toys they had when they were children. And yeah, and I'm one of those people. I'm still looking for stuff that I had in the past that I want to reclaim. Don't know what's going to happen with them when I'm gone. Hopefully, some of it will be kept as family mementos or something. Now, I got another thing that I'm going to be showing you, but before I get started on that, it's basically a drawer full of knives. If you saw the short, I mentioned that I'm going to be pulling out drawers and just going through the knives in the drawer, and I'm going to be doing that in a second. But first, another channel that has been with me almost since the beginning is Patty's Potato Peelers. Man, I have followed him for a long time. It would be great. Hi, Mike. Yeah, grandkids playing with the G.I. Joes from the 60s. Yep. Yeah, that is one of the other things. You end up looking for things forever from your past, just hoping to find it. But Singing Toad is a relatively newcomer for me, but really good channel. He's out of Canada too. You can tell that by the little maple leaf there in the middle. I haven't seen from Knife Delights for a while, but I know he's still out there. I got a feeling it's once again YouTube being mean and not showing me his stuff. But Knife Delights is a channel that I really like checking out, and I'm going to need to contact Tom pretty soon, because there's some stuff I want to do with Knife Delights in the near future. Hunting for Hookers, a channel that once again I'm not getting enough feedback from YouTube, so they're not telling me you're up there, and I know you're out there, and I got to check out you some more. And Jo Venters, I've missed you for a while, and it's again YouTube, but great channel, and a channel that's definitely worth checking out. Same with Georgia Adventures and Baxter's Blades. I just love the tiger there. And he's also one of those channels that came out with a beer mat, so that was pretty cool too. Yeah, and I got his beer mat, and I also got J.O. Ventures beer mat. Something that I occasionally send out, or actually Skip makes me send out, is the Volcano Club's beer mats, because it does support my channel. And he will actually be sponsoring the almost lives that I'll be doing. Enough of that, though. Let's get into some more knives again. And well, I'm gonna lift up the camera for a second and kind of show you. This is the drawer I pulled out. So a bunch of knives in there, and I will be dragging them over here and showing them a little bit at a time. But first, I'm gonna get a sip of water. Let me grab about 4 or 5 knives, and we'll go from there. Big handful of knives here. I think most of these are by Camillus. Nope, kind of half and half. This is a folding hunter by Camillus, and it's a blockback folding hunter. And it's, as you can see, it's the Grandpa. I really like this knife. And it is basically the one of the versions of Camillus knives that was an answer to the Buck 110. You see the Grandpa shield here. And this is Jig Brown Delrin, and you can see that there is a little crack in the Delrin from the pin right there. But then again, it's also a somewhat older knife. This is somewhere from 97 to 2006 or 7. So, but I think this was made around 2003. Might have been 97. I can't remember when the Grandpa series came out. That's one of the problems when I'm grabbing these things out of a box and I haven't really prepped or anything. You got a nice brass lanyard hole there, but nice hollow grind on that saber blade. Look at that. Beautiful knife though. And if you notice, it's got these 2 bumps here. There's the 1 bump here, and then there's a second bump here. Notice that? That's because they also have a version of this knife that has 2 blades, and you'll have the front lock here for this blade, and then there was a secondary lock over here for the second blade that was on the knife. And the second knife blade, I believe, was a wood saw. Gotta find one of those. That'll be a really cool knife. Otherwise, you got nickel silver pins holding the handle in place, and brass pins otherwise. And I think I got another Grandpa knife here. Yeah, here's another Grandpa knife. This is just a little saw cut bone Stockman. So you got a little clip blade here. You got right there, Camillus, New York, USA. And this one has a lazy clip blade there. And then you got a sheepfoot blade and a spay blade. Those blades are tight, but it's a pretty cool knife too. I think I got another Grandpa knife in there too. I don't know for certain. I do have very similar. Well, this is the square jaw or a square bolster. This one is the rounded bolster. This one just has the Camillus shield. All of the knives in the box that I have, that I was showing, that I'll be pulling out, will be USA made knives, except for 1 or 2, I think. A couple of them snuck in there, but this is just another Camillus Stockman, little one, 3 1/4 inch probably. Got that nice long clip blade there, and then sheepfoot and spay. Again, this is Brown Delrin, and it was at 3 1/4. I think it is. Actually, this is closer to 3 1/8. This is 3 1/8. This one I think is 3 1/4. Yeah, this one's 3 1/4. This one's 3 1/8. So, and this was 5 inches. Yeah, yeah, just slightly over 5 maybe. And then this is one of my older knives. This is an improved muskrat by Schrade. And why they call it an improved muskrat is because each blade is working off of its own back spring. Notice it's got a brass liner running right down the middle there. It's a full brass liner on the two muskrat blades or long clips or California clips, Turkish blade, whatever you want to call it. And this is a fairly older Schrade. Yeah, Schrade, New York, USA. And then it's got the number on the bottom there. I think it's a 787 improved muskrat. On the other side, you got the other blade. The other blade's been used a little more than the front blade was, I think. But you can see here, you got the full brass liner down the middle, and that's what really made this the improved muskrat, because instead of both blades operating off of a single spring, each blade has its own spring working, so that the blades are tighter. The spring is less likely to break and everything else. So that's why they called it the improved muskrat. Let's see, I showed that. Did not show this. This is this also Schrade or is this Colonial? This is Colonial. Yeah. And I think either Marbles or Rough Rider is going to finally come out with one of these knives. This is a fishtail. I guess you could call this one a fishtail stiletto, but the blade here is really more for skinning and such like that. This is going to actually be a nice fish knife, except the handle reminds you more of a stiletto, especially with the crosshair, the cross guard going on there. And this is a shell handle, I believe. Yeah, shell handles on here. What that means is if you notice right there, see how that bend is right there? That's because these are just held on. It's a fake cover. These pins are not even real. Neither is that pin. Those pins are not real. At least I don't believe they are on this one. I think I got one that's all broken up and taken apart. Yeah, I definitely do. I don't know where it is right now, though. But the handle will pop off if you remove these two overlapped pins right there, or the way it is bent over here. It's just little tabs that have been bent over that hold the handles on. And so these come off of the knife, and it's known as a shell handle. It was better than Celador or celluloid. That's really what it comes down to. And this is just like a celluloid wrap, I believe, on this one. Maybe I'm wrong on this one. I think I am. Okay, this one is a little different. This has the plastic handles here are actually pinned to the shell handle. Oh man, that's a little bit better than what I was expecting. So you got plastic Delrin here that is actually pinned onto this shell cover. That's interesting. I have to look more into that and get back with you on that. But there, we got those few out of the way. Let's grab another handful. Oh yeah, I will. Yeah, I think these kind of all go together here. Hope you guys are enjoying this. I know I am. This is the Schrade, what do they call this? I know Schrade had a special name for it. There, the Scamp 4. This is actually given to me. I think BDH gave this to me. I can't remember. If it wasn't BDH, I apologize to whoever I just snubbed. Man, it wasn't BDH. Who was it? I'll be forever remembering it. But he gave it to me to add it to my collection of milk knives. And if you notice, this is the Scamp 4. And it is a really well-made knife, even though it is also, as you can see here, Scamp 4 China. And otherwise, it is basically your milk knife. You got a nice little, and not you. I oh man, now I'm trying to remember. Stewart. I bet it was Stewart. I bet it was Stewart Harvey who gave this to me. Got a really well polished awl going here, and then on the other side here, the typical blade you have, the nice can opener, and then the cap lifter screwdriver. Now, somebody actually asked about this. Why do I always call it a cap lifter instead of a bottle opener? And the reason being is because that's what most of the knife manufacturers referred to it as. They called it a cap lifter. And I think they were calling it a cap lifter because the person who actually first made the cap lifter or the bottle opener, that's what he called it. He called it a cap lifter. The patent for the cap lifter actually called it a cap lifter when they came out with the patent. So it was originally called a cap lifter. Obviously, people who would be opening bottles with it would end up calling it a bottle opener, ask for a bottle opener and stuff. But because the original knife makers and everything else were calling it a cap lifter, I've always called it a cap lifter. And even up through the into the 2000s, I believe Camillus was still referring to this as a cap lifter. So if you want to call it a bottle opener, that's fine. I'm not here to argue. I think everyone knows what you mean when you say bottle opener, and I think everyone knows what you mean when you say cap lifter, especially if you're talking about one of them that is on a knife. So, but anyway, that's where it came from. The cheap Alox, I don't think so. These were stainless steel, and that's something else that something that folks in the world of Victorinox have to understand. Victorinox was not first. I'm going to go grab a couple knives and interrupt what I'm doing real quick. This is some of my Swiss Army knives. These are Swiss Soldiers knives, and now this knife, I think dates back to like 1890 or 1891. I think 1891 is when, and it's not this specific one. The one from 1891 was a little bit bigger than this. This is on a 100mm frame, I think, or is this shorter than that? No, this is on a 100mm frame, so it's a 4-inch knife. The one before that was a little bit larger than this, of the 1890 version of this. But the original Swiss Soldier's knife was not even made in Switzerland. Elsener started making it in 1891, I believe. The original knife was actually made in Solingen, Germany. And the Swiss Army gave instructions on how they wanted it made and everything, right? I'm going to open this one up because the blades are a little easier open. And it came with that screwdriver going on there. Notice there's no cap lifter. And then you had the can opener over here. This is the brute of a blade on the other one. Can't even get it open. You can see there. And then it had the, these are fiber handles, I believe, which is a fancy word for an early style of celluloid of celluloid or some kind, but they just referred to it as fiber. Got the can opener, you got the punch, the triangular punch, and then you got a clip blade. Some of them also had a spear blade, I think. In any case, this particular one is from 1944, so this is a later version of it. In any case, the concept of the blades that are on here goes all the way back to the 1860s. This was not a new idea that Switzerland came up with or anything like that. Boker was making a knife very similar to this as far back as 1860 something another. So the idea, this is, while the concept was already around, this is the version that the Swiss Army settled on, which is really kind of interesting because if you notice, it doesn't have bolsters on both ends like the Boy Scout knife would have. You know, this is an example, but not the same. This is much later. This is a Forest Master that just happens to be in the box over there. But a knife similar to this, the 1910 Boy Scout knife, it wasn't. It didn't just show up with the Boy Scouts. It was around before that. There was actually the Buffalo Bill knife, which was predated the Boy Scout knife, which looked very similar to this as well. So the pattern was around long before the Swiss Army, a Swiss Soldiers Knife was made. It was around long before the Boy Scouts. That pattern showed up somewhere between 1860 and 1880. That's my best guess. This is a pattern that the Boy Scout or the Swiss Army ended up adopting with the bare head there. Why they went with a bare head, I'm not sure, but that's what they settled for. Now, this is the later Swiss Soldier's Knife, and this knife does not predate this knife. Well, does not predate this version of the knife because, well, let's see here. In 1944, middle of World War II, or near the end of World War II, we have this knife show up. And the reason this knife showed up is because the knives that had like a wood handle or a plastic handle or a bone handle, so on and so forth, any kind of natural material handle, they were busting to pieces, especially in the Pacific Ocean or in the Pacific Theater during World War II. So the Army and the Marines had to come up with something else. This one is obviously saying U.S. Marine Corps, and I believe they were first issued to the U.S. Marine Corps. Now, this knife was made by Kingston, which was a kind of a company that composed of, I believe it was Schrade and can't remember the name of the other company. I have it in my notes somewhere. But in any case, Kingston was really another name for a knife being made by Schrade, and it has something to do with licensing and everything. And if you notice, it's got your cap lifter screwdriver, and then on the other side, it has the first version of the safety can opener. This is another thing that was just coming out during World War II in 1944. So this knife, this is also how you know that this had something to do with Schrade, because Schrade would end up landing the patent with this shortly after World War II. And then you got the main blade here, obviously worn down a little bit. And then finally you have the awl, and this is from 1944. This is when the U.S. Army started, U.S. Army and the Marine Corps, basically everyone in the military ended up adopting this knife. It was originally known as the MIL-J, and the J stood for Jack. So it was a military jackknife. That's the way it was originally known. And shortly after that, within 6 months, they changed it from MIL-J to MIL-K as for a military knife. How much were these back then? These were given to soldiers and Marines. It was given to them. They were probably less than $1 to make at the time. And they were just given to the soldiers, and they were apparently they claim that the ones that actually saw service, most of them fell apart still. But as you can see here, this is 1944. It has carbon steel back springs. It has brass liners. They were finally able to use brass again, but the covers are stainless steel and the blades are carbon steel on this knife. That's the way these were originally done. And then in 1957, Camillus landed a contract to start making these knives again. There was also a group of these knives that were made in 1946 and 1947. but even by the time that the Korean War broke out, there was enough knives in stockpile for with the U.S. military that there was no reason to make any more for the Korean War. So they did not make them for the Korean War, but by 1957 they started making them again, and then around 1957 is when Victorinox came out with the Sturdy Boy, which was this knife but with red handles or red and anodized aluminum handles, which is known as Alox. And if you notice, it has the blade options that were the same as this knife, which are also the same as you have on a Boy Scout knife. But now instead of going with this pattern, they have adopted an equal end knife similar to this. So if anyone was copying anybody, at this point it was the Victorinox or the Swiss copying this knife, and they actually adopted this knife, I believe, in 1961 for service with the Swiss Army. So this became a Swiss soldier's knife in 1961. And what we have here is this one is, I believe this is Victorinox. Yeah, this is by Victorinox, and this is from 1999. And what we have here is one by Wenger. This one also is earlier than that because it has the Waffen mark on there. So let's see when this one is from Wenger. But you can see Wenger Delamont, and this is from 1979. Now the way you can tell the difference between one from Victorinox and one from Wenger is the rivet on the bottom here. Wenger decided, you know what, let's put a rivet through there instead of a pin, so that if a person wants to attach a lanyard, they can attach a lanyard to it. Victorinox might have done that a few times, but I'm not 100% certain if Victorinox ever decided to go with the rivet, but Wenger did, and made a bit of a difference. The other thing is you will also see the, I think it's the number 71, which is the Swiss, the SA, I think, 71 SA, a Swiss Army knife by Wenger, and that one has the bail on there. Let me go grab one real quick. Yeah, so here's the SA-71, and you'll notice it has a bail on there, and I believe it does not have a date. And that is the way to tell if you have an actual Swiss soldier's knife, if it has the Waffen proof mark on there, if it does not have the bail, and if it has a date on the blade. If it has a date on the blade, it's more likely to be an actual Swiss soldier's knife, because obviously this can just be popped out and pulled out. But the big thing is this knife predates this knife. A lot of people think that the U.S. Army copied the Swiss soldier's knife and came out with this thing. That's not the way it worked at all. If anyone copied anything, Victorinox copied the stainless steel handle. The difference is these do have an aluminum handle as opposed to stainless steel, and these are definitely lighter than this knife, but otherwise they have similar blades. And this knife, like I mentioned, this is one of the earlier Swiss soldier's knives with the bare head, which really means a pommel that doesn't have a bolster on it. And it has similar blades to a Boy Scout knife. So you can definitely say it's different than a Boy Scout knife, but both of those knives, the Boy Scout knife and this knife, have knives that predate them with the similar blades. So it isn't something that anybody was really copying. The knives existed before both of them showed up. Anyway, that's pretty long and winded and not exactly where I wanted to go, but I'm going to move in and grab some more knives out of the drawer over here now and see where we can go with these. And after this, I've got, oh man, I got quite a few more to go. Oh, I didn't show these yet. I wanted to show these three because these are interesting knives. I'm not 100% sure about this one, but you notice it looks very similar to this. And from what I understand, this was made sometime shortly after World War II. And I think it's a replacement for these knives. And these knives are the knives that, you just look at and they look kind of like, there's nothing important or special about them because they've got just a celluloid handle on there. See, it's got a brass liner down the middle there. This one is all stainless steel or all carbon steel going on here. And all it is at first glance, all it is a Stockman that has a pin blade over here. See the blades there? You got a Spearmaster blade, a sheepfoot, and a pin blade. And this one here should have the same blades. And what makes these knives special is this one is a Camillus 4 line, and this is also a Camillus 4 line, which means it was made somewhere between 1933 or so and 1944. And what these knives are the knives that the United States Army Air Force adopted for their bailout kits. So these knives are actual knives that would have been most likely used by the U.S. Air Force during World War II. They would have been most likely with bomber crews in Northwest Europe. It would have been part of their bailout gear. They got a Stockman. And after World War II, I've read that they went from the plastic handles that you have here to a stainless steel handle as what you have here, which is very similar to this, but again, it has the blades of a Stockman. And this one is completely unmarked. Don't know any kind of marking on the blade here, no tang stamp or anything. The WT, I believe, is actually somebody's initials that they put on the knife. They just put their own initials on there. And you've got a pin blade, Spearmaster blade, and then the third blade here is that funky Schrade, Imperial Schrade spay blade. I think a lot of people know what I'm talking about there. So I have a feeling that this is a knife that was made by Schrade or Imperial Schrade sometime after World War II. Again, for the either the United States Army Air Force, or if it was made after 1947, it would have been the United States Air Force. So that's what this knife, I believe, is. And so that's pretty cool too. And then a few more knives here. I'm going to save these two for last. This one is Hammer brand, and it's kind of a cattle knife, I think. And again, this is one that uses the shell handles and stuff. You got the Spearmaster blade. I really like this knife. This is one of those cheap knives that I just really like. It's got the punch over here, got a nice sheepfoot there on a nice cigar frame, and then you've got this kind of pearl knife on there. I'm sorry, I didn't quite see the message that somebody had asked. I think it's something about 1095. If you post it again, I'll try and catch it. Yeah, but this is like just they're always stainless. What's always stainless? In any case, this is like that kind of a interesting marbly pearl. I don't know what you would say with that, but that's pretty cool. And then this is a one of many of my Swiss Masters knives by Colonial. I've got so many of these. This one is in really good shape. Why is it so hard to find cheap folding knives in 1095? I think it's mainly because everyone has moved on to stainless, because stainless doesn't rust, and 1095 is harder to take care of. So I think that's why people have moved on to stainless. These actually have 420 stainless steel blades in it. This is one of their answers to a Swiss Army knife, but this is made in USA by Colonial. Man, there's so many of those knives made. I got everyone. I actually did a series on this. If you look for older knives, though, you'll find plenty of 1095 and old knives, because like these knives here, these are 1095 carbon steel. A lot of old Camillus knives use 1095 carbon steel if it's a carbon steel blade. This is a 440A, which would have been typical of Camillus. This is probably 1095 from World War II. It's just everyone moved on to stainless. In any case, where was I at? Oh, let's move on to these. This is a beautiful Western I picked up. Actually, someone sent this to me. Now, this is also something that either came from Stewart or BDH, one of the two. And this is a beautiful knife from Western Stockman, man. And look at that. Yeah, Western, it's the J. I can't remember what year the J would stand for, but that would be the way to identify this. And you got the spay blade that is similar to the spay blade that you find on a lot of Imperial Trades. So I wonder if Imperial Trade actually supplied some of the blades for this knife, because that is not typical of a Camillus spay blade. But the knife was made, I think, during the Camillus years. Yeah, it is kind of a frostwood cover on this too, if you can see that. Man, it is a gorgeous knife. I really like this one. Beautiful pack of wood. Nickel silver pens going on there. You do have brass spacers and liners. And man, those are so nicely polished nickel silver bolsters on there. And really good action on these. The blade is not a hard pull or anything, but man, it stays where it's supposed to stay. Really like this knife. Have not done anything with it yet, but it is just gorgeous. And I believe that is in 440A, so, which would have been typical of the time, because that would have been the main steel used in knives. I think this one came from, I can't remember who gave me this. This is a Western USA, and this is the split tine. You can tell it has the split tang going on there because of where the pins are on the back there. Nice little bird and trout knife, though. Again, Delrin here, and then you've got, I think those are leather in the middle there, but you got a brass spacer and then some plastic spacers. Those might be either red plastic or red leather. Brass pins holding the handle in place. Look at that. Look at that little, man. Got the swedge going on there. Really cool. Yeah, look at that. That is a gorgeous knife. Aluminum pommel going on there. Couple more. These are actually bartender knives or host knives by Camillus or Camco. I see one's by Camco, one's by Camillus. These are really cool, though. I like these. Well, if you're into bartender or barware, then you'd like this. If you notice, it's got that long serrated blade there, and then the little olive spear at the end there. Also, it could be used for cheese and stuff. Cherries, too, I guess. And then you see here, if we can turn this right, see that? One side says cap lifter, and the other side says can opener. And what they really mean is a can piercer. Remember when you used to have to poke a hole in a beer can to get the beer out before the pull tabs were on there? And that's what that is. That's your can opener. and you see here the patent number on there. This was something that was patented by Camillus. It was later used by Colonial on some of their fish knives too. And this side has the cap lifter, and you actually have the cap go right there, and you're actually lifting up with the entire blade. Should show it like this. There you go though. But I've got a couple of these, and this is the last iteration of this. This is the waiter's or waitress knife, or the host knife, I think they called it. Before that, it was a fish knife. Here's the Camco fish knife. They also had a hunter's knife that was the same as the fish knife almost. The only difference is the hunter's knife does not have the, notice the fish scaler on the top there for the clip. The hunting knife did not have the fish scaler up there. It was just smooth. But you do notice that it does have the cap lifter and the can opener on there, or can piercer, with the white handle there. So it's a really small little knife, but this is something that they would have been using for hunting and everything else, and you got just a nice little blade. It's almost like a boning blade, but that would be good enough for skinning. We think of extremely large knives for skinning and stuff, but this is another skinner. You know, it's a bird and trout knife, but you could skin much larger game with that too if you wanted to. One more knife here. This is Colonial, right? Yeah, this is Colonial. You know, Colonial hobo knife with the can opener, right? Yeah, can opener. Because this was made probably before they had access to the safety can opener. And if you notice, it's got a different shape than what you have in the original safety can openers. Notice the difference there? And that's because of the patent on here. So this is probably made after 1958, 59 or so, or around that time, because the patent had not worn out on this yet. So I think it was around 1960 or 62 that the patent finally wore out on this, and then other people immediately started, or other knife makers immediately started adopting this one. But this one will do the same thing. It's pretty cool. And you know, a little bit small on the spoon, but you know, good enough for eating your yogurt and stuff. I always talk about this, that yeah, it's small, but it's worthwhile. And then the fork here is really the more important thing, because you got your little fork here for poking meat, and you can poke a big chunk of meat or a big chunk of potato and put it in your mouth. So in any case, this is one of the older ones of by Colonial. I believe it was Colonial. Yeah, Colonial. Got a couple of these. And oh, I forgot about these. I showed the Forest Master. This is the Forest Master is Colonial's answer to the Hammer brand, or the Imperial Schrade Camp King. They called theirs the Forest Master. Here's another. Oh, this is a nice one. Here's an old timer in saw cut bone. I don't know. Yeah, 550. No, 560T. Oh, this is Ulster. I think this is the one that was in the. I can't remember the tobacco that was sold in a can. Prince Albert, might have been Prince Albert. They had some knives that they were selling with Prince Albert in a can or something, and you could get a pocket knife, or they came with a pocket knife or something. And this is it. This is what's interesting though here, is this is by Ulster, but it's an old timer, which I thought was odd, because I thought Imperial Schrade, well, at the same time, when you think about it, I think Ulster was also owned by Imperial Schrade at one time. So, but in any case, there's the old timer by Ulster instead of Imperial Schrade. And here we have this knife. This is the only knife out of the bunch so far that's going to be made somewhere other than the United States. This is actually out of Canada. This is a Groman. I think this is their #1 knife. What does it say here? NEW NEOWA 5CN Atlantic, Canada. I don't know what that's for, but that is what's on the blade there. Stainless steel blade again, and then you got a clip blade down here. So you got two clips, a large and a small clip on this. That's pretty cool. I think this is Groman's #1 or #2 folding knife. I'm not sure which one. Oh, and I showed this one recently. This is the Jumbo Trapper by Queen USA. Actually, SMKW's Queen USA. We got the Queen shield there, and it just says Queen here. I wasn't sure if this was made in the United States or not because it wasn't marked. A lot of people assured me that it was indeed made in the United States, and that was one of the problems that Smoky Mountain Knife Works had with it, is the fact that the only mark on it was the Queen stamp, and there's no USA stamp on there. So I think they've moved on and managed to get USA stamped on the blades as well, though. And two last knives. These, oh no, three. Another one here. Wanted to show you this because these are very similar knives, if you notice there. Very similar. And I've also shown another knife similar to this recently. And you notice this one's called a Jumbo Trapper. This one, when this first came out, was not known as a Jumbo Trapper. This was actually known as the #10 Folding Hunter by Camillus. This one actually celebrates the 25th anniversary of SMKW. And we see that on the blade here. Smoky Mountain Knife Works. Got the Smoky Mountain Knife Works emblem right there. And this was for their 25th anniversary. You have the long blade here, which is really more of a, there is a little bit of a clip to it or a little bit of a drop to the blade. I would say that's more of a little drop point skinner going on there because I don't feel that's a clip. I think that's, would you say clip or drop point? I would say more of a drop point going on there. The way it drops is more of a drop point. So it is not a clip blade. You do have a secondary blade over here, which is definitely a big wide belly skinning blade or spay blade. And you see silver anniversary 1978 to 2003. So we know what year Camillus made this knife, 2003. But at the time it was known as the #10 Folding Hunter. That's what Camillus called it at the time, the #10 Folding Hunter. Later on it became the #10 Jumbo Trapper. And two more knives here. This is the only USA made trapper in my entire collection. I did not buy this. It was given to me by a good friend who was cleaning out his knife collection. And this is one of the knives he had. And he said, I know you don't like trappers. Are you interested? And it's like, yeah, actually I am kind of interested in that one. And you see there it is a Remington. Nice pack of wood handles. This is also one made by Camillus. See the brass liner running down the middle there. Got a wonderful clip blade here. It says Remington on the main blade there. And got Remington, what is it, USA? Yeah, made in USA Remington in the circle there. And then on the next side, on the, got it right there, first in the field, Remington, first in the field. Nice little spade blade there. This is my only standard trapper made in the United States. This is it. I often joke about it. It's like, will I ever get a case standard trapper, a 54 trapper? Maybe I will someday if somebody picks it up for me, but otherwise probably not. I'm happy, I'm content with this one being my only case standard or Remington standard trapper. Now I have another USA made trapper, but this is the Bartender's trapper, again by Camillus. And you see this one is in I think they called it Durastag at the time. Basically, it's their answer to oh man, what is it called? You know, the Delrin Stag that everyone mispronounces. No, look, see, I'm freezing up. Um, Everyone knows what it is. In any case, I know, yeah, Staglon, not Stag-a-lon, Staglon, Staglon. Thank you, BDH. Thank you, Spider Heel. Yeah, Staglon um, by Schrade. This is Camillus's version of it. Now, at one time they also referred to this as India Stag, which was really confusing because there is something which is India Stag, which is real stag, but this is they later changed it to Durastag, or they might have called it Durastag even before that. But this is this was Camillus's answer to Staglon, and they called it Durastag. And this is the bartender's trapper. So I don't know why a bartender would need a trapper, but that's what it is. And it's got a secondary blade that you found on a lot of the bartender knives that Camillus used to make. And this is a blade I think I would like to see on quite a few other knives these days. Yeah, Berenson now calls it India Stag too. But this is Camillus USA's secondary bartender blade, and you notice you've got this blade here. This is a short pin blade, and then you've got the can opener, or I'm sorry, the cap lifter here, or bottle opener here. But you've got this nice little pin blade there instead of a the thing that you most often see on that cap lifter blade. Instead of a screwdriver tip, you actually have a nice pointy spear blade or a nice pointy pin blade. And I would like to see that on a lot more knives these days. I think this is be a really nice choice to see these days. And that's why I really picked this one up. I would like to see that blade on a lot more places. Any case, is there anything else in the box? No, I think that's it in the box. So I have gone through quite a few knives here. As you can see, a big pile of knives. And what I'm pulling it out of is a drawer where I just don't know where I want to put these knives in the collection. So it's knives that are waiting for a good place for display, and so they just end up in a drawer. And I've got several drawers that are set up that way, that I've just got more knives in the drawer than I know where to put them. Well, what I plan on doing is, like I mentioned, I'll show them either in an almost live or in a live like this, where I'll just grab a drawer and go through it, pull them out, show them to you, because you may not see them any other place. The knives that really did catch my eye in here are like this one here, and also this one here. I really like this little Western. Not to mention, this is just a gorgeous Western too. But I don't have enough Western knives to have like a full collection of my Western knives. I have quite a few Camillus knives, but I don't know. Guess I'm getting at a loss for words here, but I hope you enjoyed looking at all of these various knives, big, small folders, and everything else. And I hope no one was upset with the kind of mini rant about the way everyone assumes that the Swiss Soldier's knife predates this kind of knife. It doesn't. These knives were earlier, and the original Swiss Soldier's knife was not like some new knife that no one had ever seen before. I actually did a video on that. Matter of fact, that Swiss Soldier's knife is not even the knife that Carl Elsner built his. The Boker Sportmeister predates the Swiss Army knife. And the Swiss Army knife, the one that really the made Carl Elsner's company, the one that really made Victorinox take off, was not the Swiss soldier's knife. It was the officers and sports knife, or what was it called, the officier and sportsmesser, which basically became the Spartan. That is the knife that saved Carl Elsner and actually gave us the birth of what became the Swiss Army knives, or Victorinox. It wasn't the it wasn't the Swiss soldier's knife. The Swiss soldier's knife made it possible, but the knife that saved his company was the officer and sportsmaster knife, which was the Spartan. I'll talk about that in a future video, but I have already talked about it in a past video as well. In any case, now I am really going off on another tangent, and also losing my voice and everything else, and I've been rambling for 70 minutes now, so I will definitely let you go now, and hope to talk to you again soon, and hope to do this in another week or two. If you don't see it live, you'll see it almost live. Talk to you again soon. Thanks for dropping by, and I hope you enjoyed yourself.